everyone. Thank you so much for tuning into Carol's Daily Sauce. Please like, comment, and subscribe to be reminded of all the videos that I upload. As you probably already seen from the title, we are discussing Felicity Huffman. Okay, so as I always say, thank you for tuning in. Please like, share, and comment. Please remember that sharing is caring. Don't forget to click on the bell to be reminded of each and every video that I upload. So I wanted to talk about this particular case, excuse me, just to let you guys know a little bit of background on me. I am currently in school right now, going to school for human services / criminal justice. So I have a lot of interest in the criminal justice field and the judicial system. Okay? And so I want to talk about Felicity Huffman. Felicity Huffman is an ex-desperate housewife, and she was sentenced on last week to 14 days in prison. And the reason she was sentenced to 14 days in prison is because Felicity Huffman was one of the persons, it's quite a few other people, who have been caught up in the biggest college admission scandal in U.S. history. There are other ones, one particularly that you all may be aware of is Lori Loughlin. And Lori Loughlin, I can't remember the name of the show that she played on, but it was the one with the twins, the little twins, and the father was raising them. And if, I'm quite sure I'll remember it, I'll put it on the screen. You guys, and I'll also have a picture of her so that you will know who Lori Loughlin is. But I wanted to talk about Felicity Huffman because Felicity Huffman has been charged as she pleaded guilty. She pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit fraud and honest services mail fraud, okay? She was sentenced to 14 days in prison, as well as serve 1 year probation. She also has to pay a $30,000 fine, and she also has to serve 250 hours of community service. Initially, what was going on is the prosecutors were seeking to get her a month in prison as a result of the scandal. She spent $15,000 to have her daughter's scores changed, her oldest daughter Sophia's scores changed on her SAT scores. Felicity apologized in court. She claims that she takes full responsibility for what she had done, but I question whether or not she would be as apologetic had it not been found out. If no one ever found out, she probably wouldn't even have a need to apologize because, like many of the people who have a lot of money, who are stars, money talks and they get away with doing a lot of things. As I said before, Felicity is one. She is actually one of 30 other parents who are going to be tried in court. She is one of the very first ones to be sentenced, tried and sentenced. Her attorney asked if she could spend time, her 14-day sentence, in a jail in Dublin, California, which is a low security jail. As many people are concerned, many people are curious as to where she will be spending her time. This is the problem that I have with this. My thought is always this: Why is it? Because they have more money that they get to spend time in these jails or prisons that are a little fluffy, that are a little better off. If you do the crime, you need to pay the time. And you need to pay the time in prison with other folks who have done some of the same things, if not worse, than what you're doing. Because the purpose of prison is for rehabilitation. If you just slap somebody on the hand, like they did here for her, what will she learn? She probably will do it again. She only had to pay 2 times the amount of what she paid to have the deed done, okay? She does have to do 250 hours of community service. She does have to spend a year serving probation. But what would have happened if Felicity Huffman, not Hudson. What would have happened if Felicity Huffman was not a movie star? What would have happened if she was not an Desperate Housewife? Well, let's talk about Tonya McDowell. Tonya McDowell was a young Black Connecticut mother. She had a 6-year-old son, and she was charged with felony larceny after she lied on an application for her 6-year-old son. She lied and used a different address. So basically what she did is what a lot of parents do today, is she put an address in which her son was not staying so that he could be in a district where he could go to a better school. Okay? She got 12 years in prison for that. So that goes to show you the bias in our judicial system. So because you're white and you have a lot of money, you pretty much get a slap on the wrist. But because you're Black, you have to serve or be sentenced to 12 years. That's not fair. Granted, Tonya McDowell only served 5, but those 5 years she was away from her child. I just don't understand. Granted, for Tonya McDowell, this happened in 2011, but Felicity was involved in bribery. She was involved in photoshopping of IDs, and she only gets 14 days in prison, 250 community hours, $30,000, and a year of probation. Why couldn't the sister, Tonya McDowell, get the same thing? Because she was Black. Now, we're going to talk about Lori Loughlin. Lori Loughlin has yet went to court. She has yet to be tried. However, Lori Loughlin was offered a plea bargain. Now, for those of you who do not know what a plea bargain is, what a plea bargain is when your attorney goes and talks to the prosecutor and says, she doesn't really want to spend this time, what can you offer her? Or the prosecutor comes to her attorney and says, hey, we can offer her a year. We can offer her a fee of $30,000. This is just hypothetically speaking, and she could serve 10 days in prison and everything will be fine. When you are offered a plea bargain and you don't take it, what that means is you must have some darn good records. You must have some proof that you did not do it. You must have some darn good proof, because more than anything, when someone offers you a plea bargain, it pretty much means that their evidence is not that strong. It either means that their evidence is not that strong, or that the judicial system is trying to save money, which is probably the case with 30 other persons that need to be tried. After hearing what Felicity Huffman got as far as 14 days, 250 community hours, $30,000 fee, and a year probation, Lori Loughlin is kind of concerned now. What are they going to do to me? Now what's going to end up happening is she's going to go to trial. And when she goes to trial, she too is going to be found guilty and probably will end up spending at least a year in jail because she turned down the previous plea bargain. So I just wanted to talk to you guys basically about this. I mean, if you really, really think about it, we as African Americans, and I'm saying African Americans because that's mostly who I have as my subscribers. I have no prejudice toward anybody that comes to my page. I love absolutely everybody. But the reality is, we as African Americans get the butt end of everything. And that's why it's so important for us to come together. That's why it's so important for us to come together, to bind together in unity, so that we can demand to be treated the same as anybody else. The judicial system is supposed to treat everybody the same exact way. It doesn't have anything to do with creed. It doesn't have anything to do with nationality. Every single person in this world is innocent until proven guilty. But when you look at Tonya McDowell's situation and you see that she was sentenced to 12 years, she only served 5, but only 5 is not only 5. 5 years away from your child for lying on an application saying that your son lived at a different address, and Felicity Huffman pays somebody to change numbers on an SAT score and only gets 14 days in prison. Now, let me tell you something, you guys. I pride myself on not being a really mean person. I really, really do. But what they need to do with Felicity Huffman, she doesn't need to go to Dublin. She needs to go to one of the raspiest jails in the state of California so that she will know that she know that your money can't buy everything. If they put her in a low security prison, they're basically telling her, we're just patting you on the wrist. You're gonna have to stay here for 14 days. Now I'm gonna tell you something right now, it's gonna be hell for her, because this is a woman who is used to people cleaning her house. She is used to persons going and picking her children up from school. She is used to being picked up. She is used to having security. Her husband, even her husband, is an actor. So they have a lot of money. But just because you have a lot of money does not mean that you can throw your weight around and think because you're a star, an actress, that you need to be put in another prison that's cushiony and soft and luxurious. Think about how they did with Martha Stewart. Martha Stewart was in one of the nicest ones. That right there is one of the most annoying things for me to read, because first of all, $30,000 is nothing to Felicity Huffman and her husband. It's nothing. That's why she was able to pay the $15,000 for her daughter. I'm just glad that they found out about them. But I think that what needs to happen is they need to take some of these people and they need to use them as examples so that folks won't continue to do wrong. Now, the reality is people will continue to be wrong. Some people in the inside, that's all that's in there is wrong. And what's going to happen is it's just going to come out. That's just it. That just goes without saying, but some ground rules need to be set. And these prosecutors, these district attorneys, these judges, these Supreme Court judges, they need to let the prejudice and everything die down. Instead of looking at the color of someone's skin and basing the crime on that, they need to base the crime on what it is that the person did. There is no way in Jesus' name that Tonya McDowell should have served 5 years in prison for using an address so that she could get her child in a better school district. Do you know how many people do that right now? People are doing that right now, you know? But in Connecticut, which technically is a majority white state, they use this black woman, this black token young mother, as a representation of what they will do to the black people that do wrong. It's disgusting. It's straight up judicial prejudice, and it needs to stop. Go ahead and put in the comments how you feel about it. I'm just going to tell you right now, Felicity got off on her little 14 days and all that other stuff that she got off. But I'm just going to be really, really honest with you. It's 29 other people that need to be tried, Lori Lawlin being one of them. And I'm not trying to be funny, but I hope they throw the books at them. Not because I want them to feel any kind of way other than justice needs to be served for people when they do wrong. Stop using the black man. Stop using the black woman. Stop using the black young teenagers and using them as tokens, and then letting other nationalities get away scot-free. It's not fair. We have to come together. We have to come together. We have to come together and fight to prove them. See, a lot of the things that are done to us as a black race is, y'all know, jealousy, number one. But number two, they do it to us because we allow it. Go ahead and put them comments in the comment section. If you disagree, that's okay. All this money. And instead of donating $15,000 to the homeless, which she and her husband probably do, because that's what a lot of the stars and a lot of the basketball players, and they all do that. You know, look at Ellen. Ellen gives money away like crazy, but it's just a tax write-off, you know? It'd be really good if they did it from the very kindness of their heart. All right, with that being said, please like, comment, and subscribe. You guys, I had to come back. I had to come back and add this. I have just found out that when Tonya McDowell was arrested, when she was actually arrested for the quote unquote crime, this woman was homeless and unemployed, okay? So basically she was living in a shelter, okay? So why would she put the shelter's address on her application? From what I can understand, the school that her son was in was a very affluent school. It was a school where the cost of the education for the year was $15,000 a year. And they were going to end up paying for it, and they did eventually pay for it. And so I'm quite sure she also has to pay the restitution of $15,000 back to the school. But I'm telling you, think about the compassion of people, or the lack thereof. You know, the more that I think about this world and the world that we're actually in and the way people operate, it is almost embarrassing to say that we're human, to say the least. All right, I had to just come back and do that and add that little part in, because I just looked up looking for a picture of her and found out she was actually homeless and unemployed. It gets worse and worse as the days go on. All right, you guys, I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.